Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Nishit Kumar and with me is R.S. Raghu with the evening news. The headlines. Campaigning gains momentum ahead of second phase of assembly elections in Assam and West Bengal. National COVID recovery rate reaches at 94.32%. Spike in COVID pandemic continues unabated in Bangladesh. India sends 1 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine to Fiji under Vaccine Maitri initiative. Security forces kill 5 left-wing extremists in anti-Naxal operations in Maharashtra. Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveils new version of exam warriors to make them stress-free before examination. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar reaches Dushanbe to attend Heart of Asia Istanbul process on Afghanistan for lasting peace and prosperity in the region. Registration of pilgrims for Amarnath Yatra begins on the 1st of April 2021. Colossal cargo ship freed from Channel shortline amid expectations that traffic in the Suez Canal would soon resume. And the Festival of Colour Holi celebrated across the country with fervour and gaiety. President, Vice President and the Prime Minister extend greetings on the occasion. As the number of COVID cases are on the rise again, we appeal to our listeners not to lower the guard, follow all precautions, and all those above 45 years to get vaccinated without any hesitation. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Campaigning is in full swing in Assam and West Bengal for the second phase of assembly elections. 171 candidates are in the fray for 30 constituencies in the second phase of assembly polls in West Bengal to be held on the 1st of April. Apart from Nandigram, Kharagpur, Sadar and Moina constituencies are also considered as crucial as new entrants from different fields will be trying their charisma in the field of elections. A report from our Kolkata correspondent.
Kharagpur Sadar of West Medinipur is one of the key constituencies where star campaigners of the BJP, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah campaigned for their candidate, actor-turned-politician Hiranmay Chatterjee, popularly known as Hiran. In 2016 assembly polls, Dilip Ghosh of BJP had defeated Congress MLA Gyan Singh Sohanpal in this seat. After he became MP, Pradeep Sarkar of the Trinamool Congress won the seat in 2019 by poll. This time, Pradeep Sarkar is seeking re-election from this seat and star campaigner of the Trinamool Congress, Party Supremo Mamata Banerjee, had also campaigned in his support. Rita Sharma of the Congress is contesting as the Sanjukta Morcha candidate. In Moina constituency of East Medinipur, former cricketer Ashok Dinda is fighting on BJP's ticket while Trinamool Congress fielded Sangram Dolui and Manik Bhaumik of the Congress party is contesting as the Sanjukta Morcha candidate. Madhuparna Dharsudhuri for AIR News, Kolkata.
In Assam, tomorrow is the last day of campaigning for the second phase of polls. 345 candidates are in the fray in this phase covering 39 seats. Polling will be held on the 1st of April. Political parties are making all-out efforts to woo the women voters. Our Guwahati correspondent reports that there are only 74 women in the fray out of 946 contesting candidates. However, in several seats, women voters have outnumbered the male voters in this election.
Waiving of microfinance loans to 50% jobs in public sector, political parties are making all-out efforts to attract the women voters. After the end of the first phase of polls, all the parties have now intensified their campaigning for the remaining 2 stages. The BJP has announced to increase the amount of Arunodaya scheme to 3,000 rupees per month from 830 rupees. The party also declared to cover 30 lakh families under Arunodaya if voted to power again. The Congress has promised to implement the Grihini Samman scheme to counter the Arunodaya. Under it, 2,000 rupees would be given to homemakers. BJP leader Himanta Biswa Sarma in his election rallies also announced to waive off microfinance companies' loan to a certain period. Safety and security of women voters and upliftment of their lifestyles are some of the other issues being highlighted by political parties. Manas Pratim Sharma, AIR News, Guwahati.
In Tamil Nadu, electioneering has reached a crescendo as curtains will come down in a week for polls. AIADMK Joint Coordinator and Chief Minister Palaniswamy sought the support of voters in Chennai, explaining the achievements of his government. DMK leader M.K. Stalin, campaigning in Vellore and surrounding districts, accused the ruling party was selfish and never thought of the welfare of the people. BJP leader in charge of Tamil Nadu elections, C.T. Ravi, said that any state government which works together with the central government can contribute to the growth of the state. Our Chennai correspondent reports that the flying squads in the state are monitoring the movement of cash, gold, silver and gift articles without proper documents. Raids are conducted in many places, including residences of the politically affluent family.
Flying squads, static surveillance team and IT department are operating in full measure during this election. A total amount of 147 crore rupees cash have been seized by the flying squads and the IT department. More than 1,89,000 liters of liquor valued at 2 crore rupees were seized by the State Prohibition and Excise Department. Tobacco and ganja worth more than 1 crore was seized by the police authorities. 800 kilograms of gold, silver and other metals worth more than 150 crore rupees was also seized. More than 16 crore worth cookers, laptops and saris, which was to be given for distribution to voters, were also seized. Joy, AIR News, Chennai.
In Kerala, with just a week to go for the assembly polls, all the major political fronts have intensified their campaigning. More national leaders are arriving in the state in the coming days. Palakkad is gearing up to receive the Prime Minister, who is coming for the NDA election campaign tomorrow. The Prime Minister will also visit Pathanamthitta and Thiruvananthapuram on April 2nd. Union Ministers Amit Shah and Giriraj Singh and BJP National President JP Nadda are also campaigning in the state for the NDA. Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi will arrive in Kerala tomorrow for the UDF election campaign. She will attend election meetings in Kollam, Thiruvananthapuram, Ernakulam and Thrissur districts. Rahul Gandhi is expected to visit Kerala on the 3rd and 4th of April. CPIM national leader Sitaram Yerchuri, Prakash Karat and Brinda Karat are campaigning in Kerala for the LDF campaign. NCP leader Praful Patel is also in the fray for the LDF campaign. Over 6 crore 5,30,000 beneficiaries have been administered COVID-19 vaccine in the country till now. Talking to AIR News, Niti Aayog member V.K. Paul said this program will be further accelerated in near future.
The country has achieved a very important milestone in COVID-19 vaccination program. We have now given more than 6 crore doses to our people, and this program will gain further acceleration and further speed when from the 1st of April, all Indians who are 45 years or more will be eligible for vaccination. We are working hard as a nation to fight corona and defeat corona, vaccinating the largest number of people through the world's largest vaccination program.
The Health Ministry said in the last 24 hours, 68,020 new COVID-19 cases have been reported, and with this, total cases have reached 1,20,39,644. Till now, 1,13,55,900 persons have recovered from COVID-19. The recovery rate is now at 94.32%. In the last 24 hours, 32,231 people were discharged. The death toll in the country due to the pandemic has reached 1,61,843. The active cases in the country stands at 5,21,808. Meanwhile, Indian Council of Medical Research said total number of samples tested up to yesterday is 24,18,64,161. Sharing his thought at Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio, Prime Minister asked every eligible person to take COVID vaccine.
साथियों सही भी है। देश के कोने कोने से हम ऐसी खबरें सुन रहे हैं, ऐसी तस्वीरें देख रहे हैं जो हमारे दिल को छू जाती हैं। यूपी के जौनपुर में 109 वर्ष की बुजुर्ग मां राम दुलैया जी ने टीका लगवाया है। ऐसे ही दिल्ली में भी 107 साल के केवल कृष्ण जी ने वैक्सीन की डोज ली है। हैदराबाद में 100 साल के जय चौधरी जी ने वैक्सीन लगवाई और सभी से अपील भी है कि वैक्सीन जरूर लगवाएं। इन सब के बीच कोरोना से लड़ाई का मंत्र भी जरूर याद रखिए, दवाई भी कड़ाई भी। और सिर्फ मुझे बोलना ऐसा नहीं, हमें जीना भी है, बोलना भी है, बताना भी है और लोगों को भी दवाई भी कड़ाई भी इसके लिए प्रतिबद्ध बनाते रहना है।
The spike in COVID-19 cases continues unabated in Bangladesh, with highest ever new cases reported in the last 24 hours since Sunday. According to the Directorate General of Health Services, DGHS, latest figures released on Monday, 5,181 new COVID-19 cases were reported from the country, which is the highest number since the first case was detected on March 8th last year. The country also recorded 45 deaths over the same period, taking the death toll to 8,949. The positivity rate per 100 samples has also gone up to 18.38% from a low of about 3% as on 28 February. The government announced a fresh set of health directives to control the sudden rise of the COVID-19 cases. A notification was issued on Monday restricting all kinds of public gatherings. The public transport will not be allowed to carry more than 50% passengers of their capacity. Inter-district transport to areas of high infection will be curtailed and suspended completely if necessary. The government also announced a compulsory quarantine of 14 days in hotels for incoming passengers from abroad. All educational institutions will also remain closed. All government and private establishments and factories will operate with 50% of their employees' strength. Meetings, seminars and training must take place only through online media. Mask wearing in public places has been made mandatory. Meanwhile, COVID-19 vaccination continued in Bangladesh. Under the Vaccine Maitri initiative of Government of India, Made in India vaccines reached Fiji today. Prime Minister of Fiji, Frank Bainimarama, in a tweet said Vaccine Maitri has arrived in Fiji with 1 lakh doses of life-saving COVID-19 vaccines. He thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi for helping them take the giant step towards a post-pandemic future for Fiji and for the world.
5 Naxalites were killed in a clash with police in Pandongari forest in Khobramenda area of Kurkheda Taluka this morning. All the 5 Naxals had a bounty of rupees 43 lakh. Among them are Bhaskar Hichami, Asmita Amar, Sukhdev and Sujata, secretaries of the North Gadchiroli Divisional Committee of the Naxals. Deputy Inspector General of Police Sandeep Patil and Superintendent of Police Ankit Goyal told a press conference that the anti-Naxal operation has been underway since March 27 under the leadership of Additional Superintendent of Police Manish Kalwania.
सर्च करते समय वहां पर जो 40-50 नक्सल थे उन्होंने हमारी पुलिस पार्टीज के ऊपर फायर किया। बदले में हमारी पार्टीज ने रिटेलिएशन में उनके ऊपर फायर किया। ये चकमक करीब 2 घंटे चली और उसके बाद जब हमने उस एरिया को सर्च किया तो वहां पर हमको टोटल 5 नक्सल का डेड बॉडी मिले। उनका आइडेंटिफिकेशन एक नॉर्थ गढ़चिरौली का DKSM उनका सबसे सीनियर लीडर पवन हिचामी और भास्कर है, एक टीपागढ़ का डिप्टी कमांडर सुखदेव है और 3 अन्य दलम सदस्य हैं। ऐसे सबके ऊपर मिलकर 43 लाख का इनाम है। इसके अलावा हमको 4 राइफल्स मिले हैं जिसमें एक AK, एक 303, एक 12 bore, एक 8 mm.
The new version of Exam Warriors written by Prime Minister Narendra Modi is now available with many new mantras for students as well as for parents. It is available at retail stores as well as online. The Exam Warriors module is also available on the Namo app. In a series of tweets, Mr. Modi said, the new edition of the book has been enriched with valuable inputs from students, parents and teachers. Substantive new parts have been added that would especially interest the parents and teachers. He said, the book reaffirms the need to remain stress-free before an exam. The Prime Minister added that it has many interactive activities for students and parents. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A quick look at the headlines. Campaigning gains momentum ahead of second phase of assembly election in Assam and West Bengal. National COVID recovery rate reaches 94.32%. Spike in COVID pandemic continues unabated in Bangladesh. India sends 1 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine to Fiji under Vaccine Maitri initiative. Security forces kill 5 left-wing extremists in anti-Naxal operation in Maharashtra. Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveils a new version of Exam Warriors to make them stress-free before examination. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar reaches Dushanbe to attend Heart of Asia Istanbul process on Afghanistan for lasting peace and prosperity in the region. Registration of pilgrims for Amarnath Yatra begins on 1st April 2021. Colossal cargo ship freed from Channel Shortline amid expectations that traffic in the Suez Canal would soon resume. The festival of color, Holi, celebrated across the country with fervor and gaiety. President, Vice President and Prime Minister extend greetings on the occasion. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar reached Dushanbe on a 3-day visit to Tajikistan. He will attend the 9th Ministerial Conference of Heart of Asia Istanbul process on Afghanistan tomorrow. Dr. Jaishankar is also expected to meet leaders of other participating countries on the sidelines. As the lead country for trade, commerce and investment confidence building measure under Heart of Asia Istanbul process, India has made concerted efforts for strengthening regional connectivity for the greater economic integration of Afghanistan with the region. A dedicated air freight corridor between the cities of India and Afghanistan and operationalization of Chabahar port in Iran are steps in that direction. India, as an important stakeholder for peace, prosperity and stability in Afghanistan, has played a constructive role in the international processes on Afghanistan. India has engaged regional and international stakeholders on Afghanistan. The visit will further enhance the outreach to Central Asian countries with a special focus on Afghanistan. During the visit, the External Affairs Minister will have discussions with his Tajik counterpart covering all aspects of the bilateral relations as well as regional and international issues of mutual interest. He is also scheduled to call on the President of Tajikistan, Emomali Rahmon. He is also expected to meet other Tajik ministers and dignitaries. Dr. Jaishankar had earlier visited Dushanbe in June 2019 to attend the 5th Summit of Conference on Interaction and Confidence Building Measures in Asia. This visit is in continuation of the frequent high-level exchanges between the two countries that will further strengthen the close strategic partnership between India and Tajikistan. After arriving in Dushanbe today, Dr. Jaishankar visited the Dushanbe-Chortut highway project site. He lauded the good work being done by Border Roads Organization BRO under Indian grant assistance. The 8-lane highway will decongest Dushanbe. The registration of pilgrims for Shri Amarnath Ji Yatra will commence on the 1st of April 2021 from both Baltal and Chandanwadi routes designated bank branches all over the country. The Yatra will commence on 28th of June this year. Our Jammu correspondent has filed this report.
The registration guidelines are available on the website of Shri Amarnathji Shrine Board, shriamarnathjishrine.com. Health certificates issued by doctors, medical institutes authorized by the concerned state governments and UT administrations after 15th March 2021 shall be valid and accepted at the registered bank branch. This year, the 56-day Yatra will commence simultaneously on both the routes from 28th June and culminate on Raksha Bandhan on 22nd August. The government has made elaborate security and other necessary arrangements for the safe and smooth conduct of the Yatra this year amid due consideration to all the COVID SOPs. Nasir Rathir, AR News, Jammu.
Holi, the festival of colors, is being celebrated throughout the country today. The festival is celebrated in the month of March, which not only brings cheer to the people but also brings a new lease of life to plants and animals. Holi marks the onset of spring. Holi begins with Holika Dahan, a day prior to Holi. Like any other Hindu festival, Holi also marks the victory of good over evil. Holi gives the message of equality and fraternity as all the sections of society, irrespective of caste, creed, color, age and sex, celebrate it with great enthusiasm. President Ramnath Kovind has greeted the nation on the occasion of Holi. In his message, Mr. Kovind said, Holi is a festival of social harmony which celebrates joy, delight and hope in the lives of people. He added that it gives the message of social integration and fraternity. At the same time, it also inspires people to come together in making a new India. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has greeted the citizens on Holi. In a tweet, Mr. Naidu said, "The festival of colors, Holi, is celebrated with great fervor and zeal across the country." Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also extended his greetings to the nation on the occasion of Holi. He hoped that the festival infuses joy and vigor into everyone's life. The giant cargo ship Ever Given, which has blocked Suez Canal for almost a week, was fully floated on Monday and traffic in the waterway would resume, the Canal Authority said in a statement. The cargo ship is operated by Taiwanese-based Evergreen Marine Corporation. The news has brought tears amid expectations that traffic in the canal would soon resume, causing a fall in crude prices. The prices had gone up after the canal was blocked on Tuesday. Head of the Suez Canal Authority SCA and the Dutch company Smith Salvage used tugboats to move the 2 lakh ton ship from the canal bank, following dredging and excavation work over the weekend. Further, tugging efforts to move the ship was resumed today after 11:30 a.m. Egyptian time 3 p.m. in India, when the next high tide was expected to cause the water level to rise. The operation is highly dedicated, with teams working to ensure that the ship does not get unbalanced or breaks apart. Meanwhile, the Maritime Solutions provider in charge of technical management of the vessel said that all 25 Indian crew on board are safe and in good health. Abhijit Sanghli, working president of the All India Seafarers and General Workers Union, said they had received information from BSM that the 25 Indians on board are from different states like Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra and some from North India. Director General of Shipping Amitabh Kumar said since the crew on the board are safe, the intervention of the Directorate General of Shipping has not been sought. He informed that the impact of the incident will mostly be on trade. The Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways and Director General of Shipping have advised the Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust, Mundra and Hazira ports to prepare a strategy to berth multiple vessels simultaneously once traffic resumes at the Suez Canal. Coastal shipping operators have been asked to keep feeder vessels ready to carry containers around the Indian coast if needed.
United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has urged for decisive action to stave off debt crisis in developing world. A policy brief issued by the UN chief on Monday said that the steps taken to prevent debt crisis across the world sparked by the COVID-19 crisis have not been sufficient to restore economic stability in many developing countries. A report.
According to the policy brief, 42 economies borrowing from capital markets have experienced sovereign downgrades since the start of the pandemic. Sovereign downgrades cause borrowing costs to rise, especially for developing countries, which can in turn increase the risk of more countries tipping over into unsustainable debt, especially if the COVID-19 pandemic is more protracted and deeper than expected. The policy brief highlighted the need for debt relief to create space for investments and recovery and for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. The Secretary General also urged governments to provide fresh concessional financing for developing countries, especially least developed countries and small island developing states, recapitalize multilateral development banks and accelerate the timetable for replenishing the funds, meet official development assistance ODA commitments and provide long-term financing to developing countries for investment in long-term growth. Vaibhav Srivastav for AIR News.
Nationalist Congress Party NCP chief Sharad Pawar was feeling a little uneasy due to a pain in his abdomen Sunday evening. Following this, he was taken to South Mumbai's Breach Candy Hospital. According to NCP leader Nawab Malik, Sharad Pawar had felt some pain in his abdomen last evening and had undergone a checkup in South Mumbai's Breach Candy Hospital. Malik also informed that Sharad Pawar's medical checkup has shown a gallbladder problem for which he is likely to undergo surgery.
Jal Jeevan Mission, which was announced by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on 15th August 2019 with the aim to provide tap water supply to every rural home by 2024, has reached a new milestone of providing over 4 crore rural households with tap water supply. Now 7.24 crore, more than one-third of rural households are getting potable water through taps. Goa has become the first state in the country to provide 100% tap water supply, followed by Telangana and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The untiring efforts of states and UTs have helped Jal Jeevan Mission provide assured tap water supply to every family living in 56 districts and over 86,000 villages. States and UTs are now competing with each other and focusing on the target to ensure that every household in the country gets safe drinking water so that no one is left out. Government has received multiple expressions of interest for privatization of Neelachal Ispat Nigam Limited (NINL). In a tweet, Secretary, Department of Investment and Public Asset Management Tuhin Kanta Pandey said, the transaction moves ahead to the second stage on schedule. Earlier, the government had invited bids to privatize NINL, seeking to divest 93.7% stake held by 4 central public sector enterprises and 2 Odisha government PSUs. In January last year, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs had given in-principle approval for strategic disinvestment of equity shareholding of Minerals and Metals Trading Corporation Limited, National Mineral Development Corporation, Mekon and Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, as well as 2 Odisha state government PSUs in Neelachal Ispat Nigam Limited to a strategic buyer identified through a 2-stage auction procedure.
Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan and U.S. Secretary of Energy Jennifer Granholm have agreed to revamp India-U.S. Strategic Energy Partnership SEP. Mr. Pradhan today held an introductory meeting virtually with him and reviewed the SEP. The two leaders agreed to revamp the India-U.S. SEP to reflect the new priorities of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Joe Biden, with focus on promoting clean energy with low-carbon pathways and accelerating green energy cooperation. During the meeting, they also agreed to prioritize greater collaboration in cleaner energy sector and joint R&D through partnership to advance clean energy research, among other initiatives. Besides, both sides agreed to convene the third meeting of a revamped India-US SEP at an early date. And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is likely to have strong surface winds during daytime. Temperature will hover between 21 and 36 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be 24 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 33 degrees. Chennai is expected to have clear sky. Temperature will vary between 27 and 36 degrees Celsius. In Kolkata, will have partly cloudy sky. The city will observe minimum temperature of 26 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 38 degrees. Srinagar will witness generally cloudy sky with light rain. Temperature will hover between 10 and 18 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature will be 23 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 31 degrees. Leh will have generally cloudy sky. The minimum temperature will be 1 degree Celsius, while the maximum will be 11 degrees. Gilgit will have mainly clear sky. The temperature will hover between 11 and 23 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will witness mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will hover between 13 and 27 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the minimum temperature will be 17 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 31 degrees. The city will observe mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Chandigarh will have mainly clear sky. Temperature is likely to hover between 22 and 36 degrees Celsius. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Campaigning gains momentum ahead of the second phase of assembly elections in Assam and West Bengal. National COVID recovery rate reaches 94.32%. Spike in COVID pandemic continues unabated in Bangladesh. India sends 1 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine to Fiji under Vaccine Maitri initiative. Security forces kill 5 left-wing extremists in anti-Naxal operations in Maharashtra. Prime Minister Narendra Modi unveils new version of exam warriors to make them stress-free before examination. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar reaches Dushanbe to attend Heart of Asia Istanbul process in Afghanistan for lasting peace and prosperity in the region. Registration of pilgrims for Amarnath Yatra begins on the 1st of April 2021. Colossal cargo ship freed from Channel short line amid expectations that traffic in the Suez Canal would soon resume. The Festival of Colors Holi celebrated across the country with fervor and gaiety. President, Vice President and the Prime Minister extend greetings on the occasion. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.